Most men believe they know what a woman wants until they face the silence of feminine desire. It's in that silence that mystery, power, and danger live, because her desire isn't explicit. It's disguised. It isn't logical, it's instinctive. And the man who doesn't understand that spends his life trying to decode the obvious while the essential escapes. Freud said that human desire is born from the repressed unconscious, from what the mind tries to hide, but the body insists on revealing. In women, that desire manifests indirectly in tests, provocations, calculated absences, gestures that confuse. Her unconscious speaks in codes, and the man who hasn't learned that language mistakes challenge for rejection, interest for play, intention for indifference. No man is more attractive than the one who awakens in a woman the pleasure of surrendering without realizing it. That's the point where reason dissolves and instinct take control. When she feels she's in front of a man who doesn't need her approval, something inside her gives in. She feels the safety her instinct seeks and simultaneously the danger her unconscious desires. The modern man, however, has been domesticated by logic. He wants explanations, guarantees, confirmation. He tries to conquer through reason. While feminine desire responds to emotion, and while he talks too much, explains too much, and tries too hard, her body has already decided. A woman feels what a man tries to hide. She reads the rhythm of his breathing, the weight of his gaze, the control in his silence. She perceives whether he's truly present or just faking confidence. And that's where most fail, because they try to convince the feminine through effort. The more a man tries, the more he communicates neediness. And the needier he appears, the more her instinct rejects him. Feminine desire isn't attracted to need, it's attracted to independence. A woman connects with the man who doesn't need her to feel whole. The emotional mistake that makes you invisible. Most men believe that the secret to attracting a woman lies in being noticed. They want attention, want to be seen, want her to notice something about them. But that's exactly where the mistake begins. A woman doesn't fall for the man she notices. She falls for the man she feels. And feeling is different from seeing. When you seek to be noticed, your focus is on her. When you seek to be felt, your focus is on yourself. That internal shift is where power changes hands. The average man confuses attraction with attention. He thinks being nice, available, and predictable is enough. But the feminine unconscious reacts to the opposite. He doesn't realize that to her, excessive interest is the same as saying, "You're more important than me." And that kills the spark. Because on an instinctive level, a woman is drawn to an emotionally dominant man, not an emotionally dependent one. Studies from Columbia University 2022 showed that women detect emotional inconsistency in less than 2 seconds. That means her body perceives hesitation, insecurity, or need before you even speak. Your eyes shift, your tone softens, your gestures lose firmness. And when that happens, her brain instantly classifies you as low emotional value, fast, silent, fatal. The man who seeks validation becomes predictable. He laughs at everything she says, agrees with everything she thinks, avoids confrontation for fear of losing her. But by doing that, he's already lost. Because feminine desire isn't born from comfort, it's born from tension. A woman must feel something real. And the man who tries to please all the time kills mystery, kills tension, and with it destroys attraction. Women don't fall for two nice men. They might respect them, even like them, but their instinct bows before the man who holds presence and emotional boundaries, even in the face of beauty or provocation. The man who doesn't waver, the man who doesn't lose himself, because that kind of presence activates something primal in her, the instinct to surrender. A woman senses a man's value, not when he tries to prove it, but when she realizes nothing she does can unbalance him. That's where magnetism is born. The emotionally stable man is a magnet. He attracts without effort, without justification. Because he doesn't react, he observes. He don't chase. He emanates. He doesn't try to conquer. He selects. The mental trigger of dominance is the difficulty of shaking someone. The harder it is to destabilize you, the more desirable you become. Because a woman doesn't desire control. She desires to feel she's found someone unshakable. Her instinct recognizes that as strength, and strength to the feminine unconscious is synonymous with value. The invisible man is not the one she doesn't see. It's the one she sees but doesn't feel. The man she feels is the one who has mastered himself before trying to master any woman. The feminine instinct is programmed to test your emotional strength. A woman doesn't test you out of malice. She tests you out of instinct. It's a biological inheritance that predates conscious thought. Since ancient times, the female body has evolved to assess a man's emotional stability because that determined survival. David Buss, in The Evolution of Desire, explains that women evolved to identify signs of confidence, leadership, and control under pressure. That's why she provokes, ignores, challenges, measures your reactions. She's not asking if you like her. She's asking if you're strong enough to handle her. Feminine tests aren't rejection, they're filters. She's not trying to push you away. She's trying to decode you. She wants to know if your value is real or performed. If your self-control is authentic or a facade. When she provokes you, she's not humiliating you. She's feeling if your energy changes. If you lose composure, she senses weakness. If you stay calm, she senses dominance. And that invisible difference defines what she will feel for you. A 2020 University of Vienna study confirmed that women interpret expressions of hesitation as insecurity, and that it takes only milliseconds for attraction to drop. Her body doesn't think, it feels, and when she senses doubt in your eyes or tension in your breath, her instinct retreats. The man who understands this changes his entire approach to the feminine. He stops reacting and starts observing. He realizes that every provocation is an opportunity to demonstrate balance. While the average man tries to prove he's good enough, the self-mastered man proves he's unshakable. His silence becomes more powerful than any argument. The woman is pure emotion. The man is structure. When those poles balance, attraction is born. But when one tries to imitate the other, balance collapses. The man who reacts emotionally to a woman's tests abdicates his natural position of leadership. He enters her emotional territory and loses control of the game. The man who observes and stays cantered creates magnetism because he radiates safety. He becomes the rock amid the emotional storm her instinct uses to test his strength. When she challenges you, don't see an attack. See an invitation to prove, not to her, but to yourself, that your value doesn't depend on approval, that your calm isn't a mask, that your control is real. The man who masters himself passes every test without needing to win a single one, because he's already won the most important battle, not losing himself to prove who he is. What really drives her crazy? She desires the man who doesn't need her. What drives a woman crazy isn't love. It's the tension between control and mystery. Her instinct is drawn to what she doesn't fully understand, to what she can't dominate. It's a force that acts beneath consciousness, a silent game between safety and desire. A 2019 Stanford University neuroscience study showed that dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and motivation, is released at higher levels during emotional uncertainty than during security. That means what awakens feminine attraction isn't complete stability. It's controlled unpredictability. The woman desires the man who makes her feel without giving her all the answers. The man who chases, insists, and explains kills the mystery. And when the mystery dies, desire dies. Feminine attraction is born from controlled absence. It's the paradox of wanting. The more she feels she has you, the less she desires you. The more she feels she could lose you, the more she thinks of you. The man who understands that doesn't play to be loved. He plays to be remembered. He doesn't seek constant presence. He creates calculated intensity. He's there, but never fully. That's what triggers her brain's reward and pursuit system. Freud would call it the dance of the unconscious. She desires what awakens inner conflict, the man she can't completely dominate, the one who makes her feel vulnerable yet safe, the one who keeps purpose even in the face of temptation. Because purpose is the ultimate proof of dominance. When she realizes she's not the center of your life, but you still choose her, her desire multiplies. Because the feminine unconscious associates direction with value. The man who understands this stops seeking approval and starts creating tension. He doesn't chase but doesn't withdraw either. He becomes the fixed point between wanting and not being able to have. She feels that ambiguity and becomes addicted to it. It's the addiction to uncertainty. She thinks of you without wanting to. She looks for signs, tries to decipher if she has you, and in not knowing, she becomes trapped by her own curiosity. Desire is a prison she builds herself when the man controls his emotional space. The man who keeps purpose, keeps mystery. He doesn't change his schedule for her, doesn't abandon his goals to prove affection. He's present, but with boundaries. He talks enough, but never everything, shows interest, but without urgency. And that controlled absence drives her insane because her instinct feels the lack, and her brain responds with dopamine. The man she doesn't have completely is the one she thinks of constantly. Desire is born from emotional scarcity, not constant availability. A woman desires what she might lose, not what's guaranteed. When a man offers everything too soon, he kills the tension that keeps the fire alive. She must feel your presence, even in your absence. When you master that balance, you're not just desired, you're remembered. And the man who is remembered becomes impossible to replace. Mastering desire is mastering power. True power and seduction aren't about controlling the woman. It's about controlling your own need for her. That's where most fail. Modern men seek power through feminine validation. When real power is born from emotional independence, the man who needs a woman to feel complete becomes fragile, predictable, moldable. Man who masters his own desire becomes a force. He doesn't need to prove value. His value is felt in silence. Nietzsche once said, "The man who masters himself can conquer the world." That phrase holds the essence of masculine dominance. The man who controls his own instinct awakens feminine desire because her body recognizes in him the opposite of what she usually sees. Self-control, purpose, and energy that doesn't bow to temptation. The man who masters his body and his silence emanates power without showing it. It's the absence of need that makes him irresistible. The more you're guided by purpose, the more feminine instinct bends before your energy. A woman feels when a man lives for something greater than her. That attracts her because her unconscious seeks a leader, not a follower. The man led by mission is the only one who keeps desire alive because he doesn't place the woman at the center of his life. He places her as part of his empire, not as the reason for his existence. Stop seeking validation. Every time you try to prove something, you shrink. Real value isn't demonstrated, it's perceived. Understand that feminine tests are filters, not attacks. She's trying to discover if your balance is real. Awaken desire by keeping mystery and direction. Never give yourself completely because the predictable man is forgotten. And the indecipherable man is remembered. The woman desires the man who doesn't react to her body, but who makes her react to his presence. The man who doesn't beg for desire, but provokes it. The man who doesn't lose control and tension, but turns tension into dominance. When you reach that level, there's no competition, because desire stops being a game and becomes magnetism. Listen carefully. The man who understands the power of his own desire stops being a participant and becomes the center of the game. Because the game of attraction was never about her. It was always about you. What you feel, what you project, what your body communicates when silence fills the space. Feminine desire is reactive. It responds to the emotional field you create. And what separates a magnetic man from an invisible one is simple. The first controls his energy. The second wastes it. The average man lives in reaction. He reacts to beauty, to provocation, to the fear of losing. And in constant reaction, he gives away his power. Every anxious gesture, every quick reply, every attempt to please is an unconscious confession of weakness. The reactive man doesn't lead, he follows. And the feminine never surrenders to one who follows. Because in her instinct, the man who doesn't control himself can't guide anyone. To master desire is to master time. It's knowing how to wait. It's enduring silence without needing to fill it. It's looking without anxiety. It's moving with intention, not haste. It's speaking when necessary and being silent when silence holds more power. A woman feels a man's control through the rhythm he imposes on the moment. The more he stays cantered, the more she loses balance. And that's what awakens desire. The contrast between his calm and the emotional chaos her body experiences. Nietzsche said that a man's strength is measured by the intensity of his instincts and his ability to control them. That is true dominance. It's not about suppressing desire, but channeling it. The man who understands this transforms tension into presence, impulse into power, and attraction into direction. He's not driven by need, but by choice. And that choice makes him free. You don't need to be the most handsome, the richest, or the most talkative. You just need to be the most conscious. The conscious man controls his gaze, his body, and his silence. He doesn't try to be interesting. He simply is, because mystery is born from clarity. The man who knows what he wants and knows what he doesn't need to prove is the one who intrigues the feminine unconscious the most. While others try to conquer, he simply positions himself. He doesn't compete for attention, he receives it. He doesn't wait for the right moment, he creates it. And when she feels that, something inside her changes. Her body reacts before her mind can understand. It's instinct recognizing power. It's her unconscious praying to the energy of a man who doesn't need to ask to be desired. In the end, seduction is only a mirror. It reflects who you are when no one is watching. If the reflection is of an anxious man, you'll be treated with indifference. If it's of a centered man, you'll be treated with desire because her body feels what your mind hasn't yet learned to control. And the man who understands that doesn't play the game of seduction. He creates it.